ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, so hi everyone. This is Scott here from GoRide.com, a local bike shop here in Salt Lake City. They have two locations, one here in Sugar House and then one down in Draper, and we're going to be conducting the interview with him. Let's start off with how did you start GoRide?
GoRide was started in the late 90s. I was into downhill racing and I wanted to find a way to subsidize my racing costs. So I reached out to some small frame builders and started stocking and just selling their frames online, and to just kind of built a little piece here, a little piece there. I was doing it out of my apartment to begin with.
And then just as you started, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced at first?
Oh my goodness, it was such a different time in both the bike industry and in online sales. The bike industry still probably kind of just transitioning quite a bit from mail order to online. So that was a little bit different. There wasn't really anybody selling a lot of downhill equipment online, so we were new in that arena. Some of the trickiest things were like you didn't have an automated processing system on a website. Like you had a website that, like if you ever heard of MySpace, it kind of looked like it was just like a static picture. You couldn't click buy now. You couldn't see what was in stock. You had to call. I had to write your phone number down. I had to go to another phone and put it into the phone and hit submit and they would give me another number back saying that it was approved, and do so much of it by hand. And then I would box something up, and in the really early days I didn't have a UPS account, so at like 4:30 I would jump in my car and drive, and I would race all the UPS trucks back to the hub on the route, because they were all going to the same place at the end of their day, so I could get my shipments dropped off before the end of the day. So it was a little different than things are now with mail order.
As things change and adapt, what steps did you take as a small business owner to really stay relevant, keep people coming in the door?
Well, originally we were just doing online sales, essentially online sales. Mail order is probably a little better description of what it was at the time. And slowly we built up a local following. And then of all things, I had to move out I was renting a duplex. I moved out of the duplex. The kitchen had become a service area. One of the bedrooms was like the office area. The other bedroom was storage, and we had 4 people maybe working there. And I moved in with my buddy. So we started just there, and then eventually it just had so many people coming to the door wanting either service or sales that we went and rented a small space and opened a shop. I think it was maybe 1,800 square feet. And that's kind of how we got to that next level.
What was that like, moving from a small little apartment shop with people showing up to your front door to a real business location?
Overall, it was good. You know, it was a little nerve-wracking, but not too bad. Nothing like it would be now. Like the last time we moved a store was a huge undertaking. But just a lot of little things. When you move out of your home, at least in Utah, all of a sudden you have to actually get a commercial business license instead of just like a little home business license, and you had to like change your insurance. I had just been able to use my homeowners or renters insurance to insure the inventory and the computers and tools I had. Payroll became a bigger deal, and everything had to be completely by the book. Then open hours, having somebody there, staffing, getting the door open every day that you're supposed to be there, rather than just being able to answer a phone. Initially, I just took all the phone orders over my mobile phone. So if I wanted to go riding and somebody wanted to place an order, I could still
be right there,
write it down. There wasn't like phones that you could actually type an order into. You could write it down on a piece of paper or something like that. So a lot of those responsibilities changed.
And then I guess this kind of goes along with that. As you started hiring different people, what skills and traits did you look for off the start?
Wow, I was really lucky early on. Probably the first 4 people that worked with me stayed with me for a long time, and they were all people. One I didn't really know all that well from before, but he knew the 2 other guys really well. They were all involved in the bike scene. They all had worked at pretty much at other shops, more traditional shops that cater to all around cycling. Downhill was really, it's almost its own, totally unique. There wasn't enduro in between or even free ride in between. It was like there were cross country to light trail bikes, and then there were these downhill bikes. So it was super unique. So realistically, at that time, I was just kind of hiring people that knew something about that side of the industry, and we figured the rest out from there as far as getting orders out the door and handling warranties and things like that.
Yeah, and I guess hiring new employees is one of the biggest challenges, so it's good you were able to find people in there.
For a long time, for years, it was more like if somebody was leaving, someone would pop up and just be like, oh, I heard you had an opening, and I'm such and such, or I already know them from somewhere else. And so it was, we were really lucky to have such a strong group, consistent group for a long time.
Yeah. And then kind of going on the employees thing, what's some of the important things you, I guess, start to train your employees on at first? What are some processes you use?
Well, it's definitely changed over time. I still look for and pretty much tell anyone, like I'll get calls all the time. Oh, I heard you're looking for a service person. And they come from some other mechanical background, quite often automotive. Or, oh, I'm a sales guy. I'm really good at sales. I can sell anything. And usually I just pretty much say no. If you're not like super passionate about bikes, specifically mountain bikes, I just have rarely ever found anyone that's a fit here. I've got people of all sorts of different riding backgrounds, but cycling is, and mountain biking specifically, is a huge personal passion of theirs. And I think it shows through to our customers, because most of our customers that come in, it's also their outside of their family and their job, the next thing in their life quite often is mountain biking. So if you really don't know what you're talking about, they kind of know it. So I look for that really closely. And then after that, the next thing really is just training people to be patient with customers, to really listen, to give good quality advice. The term, what I tell people so often, especially when a customer looks at me and is kind of like, are you sure? I look at it and I say, this is exactly what I would tell my best friend if he came in and asked me this question. This is the way. We're not trying to sell you what we've got left over or stuck with or what's the hot deal. We want to find out what you really need and then guide you to that purchase.
So biggest thing for you has been finding passionate employees who really love the bike industry.
In this particular industry, I think at least the type of shop we are, I think that's the most important thing. And our customer base will realize if you're not into bikes, and they'll kind of gloss over you and move on to somebody else to help them.
I guess this is a question leading up to kind of how GoRide founded. What previous background did you have before becoming a small business owner?
I have a degree in finance. My parents were small business owners. Not that I learned a whole lot from them, but it was kind of like, had a feeling for the ups and downs. They have similar day-to-day problems versus when you work for someone else versus you're responsible for everything yourself. It just started small. I was working another job when I first started selling stuff online, and then slowly it grew enough that I was like, I think I'm ready just to jump in with both feet. And again, part of it too was a little bit of timing, in that having a big super fancy website and a ton of money behind it wasn't as important at that time as it is now if you want to be successful selling online. Yeah. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess this kind of leads in, like, what are some of the biggest day-to-day challenges that you have now?
Oh, it's been all over the place over the years. Sometimes it's keeping relevant merchandise. Like, this brand's hot, this brand's not. We have too much of that one, not enough of this one. Some days it's that. Some days, definitely, in years past, it's been finding quality staff. There's just times when, like, two mechanics who worked for a certain period of time are just happen to transition to whatever the next phase of their life is at the same time. Whether one of them moved out of town, one of them went back to school, one of them took a job in a degree that they had recently received, things like that. So sometimes finding those quality skilled employees is tough, keeping your merchandise accurate. These days, right now, probably the biggest area where we're still a great shop, great two shops in great locations, good product mix, knowledgeable, passionate staff. the things that used to like for this business guarantee it would do well now isn't quite enough. So we're really struggling at the moment to transition to the more marketing side of things, which is a little frustrating to me in that it feels like people are just getting drawn in by glitzy marketing and not actually, and then they miss out on the quality that we offer. I think there's plenty of businesses out there, especially, mail or, online purchasing only, that sort of thing, where their marketing draws you in and you make a purchase, but who there really helped you? What advice did you get? What accurate advice did you get? Does that person even ride a bike who you may or may not have even spoken to anyone? And we see that all the time with people bringing in parts. Can you put these on my bike? And then 2 of them don't even fit on their bike.
Yeah.
And then they go back and have to return and exchange them. So marketing, I would say, is the hardest part right now.
And kind of a follow-up to that question, do you think that your previous background in finance and college helped you become a small business owner and helped give you the skills to tackle these
Definitely,
challenges?
I don't remember what the percentage is, but I want to say it was something crazy, like 80% of small businesses fail within 1 to 2 years. So you might have, I don't know if you caught that in the class yet recently, or
It's pretty high.
yeah, it's a high. In restaurants, it's like, I remember that was like ridiculously high or something. So having a finance background definitely helped me manage money. I did not. I think, I'm trying to remember. I want to say I had maybe $10,000 available to me at the time when I first. So basically, everything extra I had, I used to buy a certain batch of inventory that I thought would catch on and sell, and I had to manage every penny of profit from that really carefully just to make it grow a little bit, right? And then turn it over and buy some more. So there's no doubt, and then I'm also not paying somebody else to do the tedious accounting that I think would add up to a pretty sizable bill, plus the fact that I wouldn't get that information of where problems are until maybe months later versus I see it on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's played a big role in being able to stay financially successful in the ups and downs of the industry.
Yeah, for sure. And then last question, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis just to keep GoRide relevant, to keep people coming in the store, keep our name out there,
That's tricky. Mostly tricky because we're still in a 3-year down cycle in the cycling industry, although it feels like so much of other industries just kind of got sucked into it in the last few months or so with some changes to our fiscal policies in this country. The cycling industry really made some big mistakes at the end of COVID. So traditionally, we probably would have almost 50% more employees than we currently have, maybe even double at times. And that left a lot more flexibility to do other marketing things, to be in other places, to be at trailheads, to volunteer for things. The stuff that I think is really important to the local community is tough to do right now with such a small staff. So we're really trying to improve our website, which is already, I feel, pretty good compared to our local competitors. It's an 8 out of 10, something like that. There's 1 or 2 guys that do it in similar size to us that do it better, but I would say at least an 8 out of 10 there. Where we are lagging behind are maybe informational videos, content like that versus sales only content.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, that has been a big focus, and I have lots of ideas that I think are good. The biggest problem is finding the time to execute any of them.
Yeah.
Like put them at the top of the priority versus putting out a fire or somewhere else that's going on. Like an employee's leaving and we have to fill that spot. That becomes pretty important. Or a customer's buying a bike right now. Whatever we were doing isn't as important as that. Yeah.
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 All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Awesome.
Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it. That was fun.